So I'm here to talk about the more serious and um, the side of Christ to which I feel like it's not just some game of trying to be the best person you can be above other people. It's actually a responsibility that each and every one of us on this planet has, both to ourselves and to the collective. Now, there's no doubt, given the current circumstances that we see on our planet, we see humanity gone absolutely into chaos in certain countries and so on. And we're also witnessing what looks like absolutely Armageddon-like conditions in our environment. It's extraordinary. I'm in Australia and this country is on fire. It's super hot, it's unnatural, and this is just one country. It's going on everywhere, from blizzards to volcanic eruptions and so on. Like, our environment is really, really, really suffering. I'm trying to fix my glasses. How's that? So, so the point is that, this has been escalating throughout history. There's no doubt that we've been seeing this happening, and we know the reason why is because the people who are in power, what I like to term and call them as the power elite, or they're often many of them are fallen beings, are refusing to put into action certain measures that will assist our environment to heal, and they just continue to draw from that environment, and they make money out of people and also create this unrest that is feeding our light into beings that just don't care about us, basically. So this has been happening for a long time. In all of our known history, the history that's been documented, there's been constant cycles where fallen beings or the power elite have risen to their positions, and they have abused human beings and deceived us again and again and again. So many of us are very, very traumatized and damaged. They are too, like, there's no doubt, but they're less likely to break the pattern because they're holding on to this thread of what they perceive as being power, but and refusing to let go of it. So that means the onus falls on us as individuals. Now, when we look around on our planet right now, there's no doubt, there are really inspiring people rising up to take a stand and to say, no, we've had enough, this is not good enough, and to fight the good fight. And while at one level this is vital, it's still not enough, because that leaves, another proportion of people back and sitting back and just sort of waiting for things to be fixed, waiting for them to be fixed by the new young generations and their protesting, or the leaders within these generations, or to be fixed by people in power, be they, what is perceived as good or bad. It doesn't matter. It's pressure on leaders and governments that they're the ones who have to fix it. And there's people who believe, also that Jesus is going to come back and just, boom, fix it all for us, like magically, or beings from outer space are going to do the same thing. And my mind gets this, like, that's not going to work, because sure, you can just wave the magic wand and make it all get fixed up, but then what about every other single person, all these people who have stayed really quiet and not done anything to work on themselves? Their same damaged psychology is going to keep going on and on and on. And that's what perpetuates these cycles, is the refusal of the collective to lift themselves out of ignorance, or to make changes within themselves, and to recognize that, every single one of us in incarnation has some sort of unresolved psychology. We are all damaged. We are all mentally ill. It's not just reserved for people who, have that umbrella sitting on top of their head saying that, you're mentally ill, you're crazy. It's for everybody. Everybody has got issues. So we need to have everybody working on themselves. It must happen. It must happen within every single person must begin to look at this and recognize I need to work on my psychology. I need to work on my emotional health. I need to connect and evolve as a spiritual being and recognize that keeping my head in the sand, hiding in one way or another, that's not going to solve the issues. It's just not enough. So it's up to you and it's up to me to do this. Now, what I'm doing with the Seven Sisters series is I'm using myself as an example of just one person and what I'm doing and how I'm addressing all of these issues, and I'm laying myself bare, absolutely bare. I'm not trying to make myself into some godlike figure or something that people perceive a Christed person should be. I'm trying to present myself as every other person which has come from has been damaged, but I recognize that damage. I'm showing that damage, and I'm showing the progress forwards. That it is possible for anybody to come from any position, from any level of abuse, from any level of illness, be it mental illness, emotional illness, or physical illness, and come back and work on yourself. There's no excuse for not doing it, because it's really not that hard. It's not that hard. All it takes is the desire to do it and the will to change. So, let me see. So that means that, it's now time for every single person to stop seeing this whole Christ word as being something that it's a title reserved for only Jesus. It's something that involves every single one of us. It's Christhood is just like brotherhood or sisterhood, but it's a cosmic hood. It's a family that's born from the higher selves of all beings. Now, every single one of us knows what truth is within ourselves. Now, the ego can come along and try to argue it till it's black and blue. People can come along and try to argue with me as much as they want. I'm not going to argue back. I know there's no point. I've spent so much time in my past trying to argue and trying to answer other people's egos in response to their the ego's demands of saying either you're blasphemous or science says something else, or history says this, or you're arrogant. It doesn't matter. There's so many ways that you can argue it, but inside of every single one of us, in our hearts, we know the truth. We know what the truth is, and we know it through and through. Now, it's not about trying to change anyone else's version of that truth. It's about us coming into that space of truth. And in there, that's where we're connecting up with the Christhood of the cosmos. And that's what I'm calling for. And that's what I am joining very consciously. And I'm here putting out the calling to you, saying, come join the Christhood. And let's be one in our higher selves and no longer hang on to that lower vibration which is born from fear and separation. Let's come into oneness, which still honours our uniqueness as a being, and we can still honour one another in each person's uniqueness and in the gifts that they bring. And when we do that truly through a place of acceptance of love, we just find that sense of togetherness and the real expression of love. And so that's what my calling is, and that's what I'm here to do, and that's what the Seven Sisters is about. It's not about my ego. It's about me just saying, hey, I'm doing this. I'm not afraid to stand up and use the word Christ and saying I am a Christed being. I am one in the brotherhood and sisterhood of Christ. And come and join me, because all it takes is just dropping straight in from above and into your heart and sitting in that place of truth. And you can't make it happen, you just know it. You just know when you're sitting in truth and in oneness and in love. So there you have it. I invite you. Welcome. Welcome to the journey of the Seven Sisters. Welcome to the family of the Christ.